Let's get to the bottom of this one. Unspoken truths that I miss one. Tap into the minds of the people, rather acknowledge before I dismiss one. Atheists, Muslim, Christians, Buddhists, they all got usage. All got perspective, it's a collective. Get to the bottom where the truth is, where the heart's uncovered. Where you detox from all of the lies you smothered. What them tries to kill you, but with faith you recover. Yeah, peel off the makeup, we finna take off. Never said it'd be a cakewalk. Meditate till we charged up. Execute goes regardless. Decalcify my pineal. Breaking language barriers, we saw millennials. Planets passing age rotations, down me we owe. So down me we know. Sometimes we can be slow, that's why my ears open. Every drop you add could complete the ocean. Speak up, play your part too. Been vulnerable, it's so hard to reflect on all the juice like torture. It's on you, tell the truth.
Yeah, we about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. Listen. Yeah, aim in the fit so you see in the mirror. Play with your focus and watch it get clear. Polish your crown, turn it up if you wear it. You live in the root, release what you're fearing. And watch it all rise, the righteous will hear it. They calling us twisted, I'm not even caring. Because it's unseen, the mind is too barren. They won't even heal it, they pass it to cheering. We over here healing, conversing and listening. Know that the truth isn't always appealing, but end it with healing and find your beginning. Frequency positive, what you receiving. Perception is up to you, what you believing. What you retrieving, mentally speaking. Life that they breathing, no words from a heathen. Don't know it all, but together undefeated. Conversation, rather want it, you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the trial with the students and teachers. All got a voice, we the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. Conversation, rather want it, you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the trial with the students and teachers. All got a voice, we the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen, hey. Yeah.
We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. Praying for truth cause the world is so fickle. Keeping my mental, how clean is a whistle. Attention's a trap that can lead you astray. Smearing this shit through the storm and the haze. Real conversations are lost in the greed. Others get lost in the web that it weaves. Sift through the rhetoric, uncover schemes. Knowledge inherited, this is imperative. I got a lot on my mind and I'm sharing it. Apples to oranges, it ain't no comparisons. I'm the type that'll never break character. I'm the type to make memories and cherish them. Trust intuition and doubt of disparity. Pursuing the echoes of wisdom. Chasing that moment of clarity. Conversation, rather one if you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the track with the students and teachers. All got a voice, who the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. Conversation, rather one if you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the track with the students and teachers. All got a voice, who the ears that'll listen. Who the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen.
It's on you, tell the truth.
Peace, everyone. Welcome to the People's Podcast, the ears that will listen and where your opinion matters. Tonight's conversation is one that challenges how you've been taught to see connection, pain, and healing. Trauma bonds are often spoken about as something to escape, something broken beyond repair. This perspective leaves us and you out in an important truth. Healing can change the shape of a bond. This episode is called Healing Trauma Bond for Renewal. And we welcome and we are honored to have Audrey Empress with us, who brings insight, lived experiences, and perspective into how relationships can shift from survival to conscious connection. This is not a conversation about staying in harm. It's about understanding when awareness, boundaries, and accountability create space for renewal. Let's begin to overstand and understand? What is the deeper meaning, Moon Tortoise?
Hello, and welcome, Empress Audrey. The deeper meaning for tonight's episode is it goes deeper than relationships alone. It's going to speak on how trauma teaches us to attach, how our nervous systems confuse familiarity with safety, and how healing requires unlearning patterns that once protected us. Renewal does not mean pretending the past never happened. It means refusing to repeat it. Healthy trauma bonds ask for emotional regulation, personal responsibility, and the courage to choose differently. The deeper question tonight is not who hurts us, it's who are we becoming as we heal.
Empress Audrey, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm
SGF
glad
Graham,
to be here.
SGF Graham, welcome.
Peace, peace. How y'all doing?
All is truly well. So, Empress, how do you personally define a trauma bond?
Well, a trauma bond has nothing to do with whether it's good or bad. It's a survival thing. A trauma bond is made because the brain has to go into survival mode. And so I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on and I wouldn't even be able to see these little words if I did. So I can't see your names, but what the young man just said about how the brain has to be shifted, it has to be retrained when it is bonded to somebody trauma. Now, normally we look at trauma bonds from the lens of relationships, intimate partner relationships. I don't deal with trauma bonds like that. I don't have those type of trauma bonds. Like I don't have I'm not in an abusive relationship. But I have trauma bonds because I live inside of a trauma and I build my relationships inside that trauma.
Would you like to break that down a little deeper for those that don't understand? Because,
for example,
okay, go ahead.
I was in we were in a car accident in 2011. My family was, where my daughter was left total care, and where it started a series of other life-threatening things that went on in her life over the past 14 years, where we have consistently lived in a trauma. And so all of my relationships are built in that trauma. I'm a dependent, okay? Trauma bonds are about dependency. They're about fearful. They're, fear and dependency and things like that. I am dependent on the relationships that I have right now, because they take care of my daughter or they take care of me, or, they could be, it's the doctor, it's the case manager, it's the lawyer, it's, these people I have bonds with because of a trauma.
Makes sense to me. So, Moon Tortoise, what does shared pain? When does shared pain create connection rather than harm?
Well, when two people can sympathize over the same thing, it can lead to a kind of a healthy way in any kind of relationship or interaction. I tend to like to talk to people who share a lot of the same traumas I have with addiction and abuse growing up. And though it's an ugly thing to talk about for most people, that aspect between the two of us is actually very healing and healthy, and even funny sometimes, where other people find it almost disgusting to listen to. So it's just how we communicate and relate to each other as humans. It's kind of a beautiful thing, and perception is right there in the middle of it, leading the way.
Welcome, welcome, Love Chops. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
So, SGF Graham, what distinguishes healing together from survival together, from surviving together?
Um, I guess I'm speaking from personal experiences. I've been through too many trauma bonds, and I started to notice that it was they just wanted somebody to go through the misery with them. They weren't trying to be uplifted or get out of it. So everything that I was saying was going in one ear and going out the other, and I was actually aggravating them. They didn't understand why I was being so positive in our situation. And so, with my fiance or whatever, I had let her know, like, if we're not striving to do a whole lot better, we can't do this because I'm not willing to sit stagnant. So I would say the difference would be sitting in your woes versus actually growing out of it together.
Mm. So, Love Chop, how can people recognize emotional safety in a relationship?
It's through a lot of communication, building the trust, and understanding what the wants and needs are, basically, and then not leading to fault for whatever the situations may be when it comes to such ordeals.
Okay. I'm going to ask everybody that because I think safety is different for everybody. So, Moon Tortoise,
Yes.
how can people recognize emotional safety in a relationship?
By being able to be honest. How can they recognize it for themselves?
It just says, how can they recognize emotional safety in a relationship?
Well, having emotional safety in a relationship is a tantamount to its success. It's foundations of a good relationship begin on being able to express your emotions clearly and not be chastised for that. Have it reciprocated in kind. So I think it's a big aspect of a healthy relationship is being emotionally secure.
Empress, do you have a different answer? How can people recognize emotional safety in a relationship?
Now, is this in regards to a trauma bond?
Yes.
Because there is no emotional safety in a trauma bond. I mean, the whole reason you have that bond is because you're not safe. You're not feeling safe.
So maybe it's for renewal.
The trauma bond is something that your brain is switched on to tell you that you're safe when you're not safe.
Yes, it's generally not a positive thing, actually. It's almost a hard topic to talk about because trauma bonds aren't usually looked at as a positive light. They can lead to positive things, outcomes, if they're handled carefully enough.
Yeah, if you got to put some work in. If you're going to be in a relationship with and be trauma bonded, and you want to grow out of that trauma bond together, then you're both going to be going to therapy. You're both going to be committed to the process because it's not easy to let go. And then once you become rewired in your brain and you understand that you are safe, and that's something that has to click on in your brain, you're not going to want to be with that person because you were with that person because of a trauma bond. Once your brain rewires and you no longer are bonded by that trauma, you might find you have nothing with that person. So there's no emotional safety.
And I love that you said that because I think what they're is saying is for renewal. So I think that people have to understand that there is no renewal in the trauma bond unless you do it together, and then you have to grow in that balance together. And it's really, really super hard to do because one person will be stuck and the next person will be or surpass them. And it's all about what you're willing to forgive and forget and to grow from.
Right.
And that's, like you said, that's the hard part, is that switch. So emotional safety is getting out of survival mode. And I don't think that it's easy to do, because our mind is wired for survival all the time from a child on up. And then when something dramatic happens to us, that is hardwired into us, because we don't want to repeat that cycle again. And SGF Graham, do you have a different answer, or about the same?
I mean, you said recognizing, so I would assume pretty much, observing, paying attention to the person that you're dealing with. If you calling it a relationship, then I assume that you know the person.
Yeah.
So, pay attention to the cues that's going on to understand when they feeling a little out of it. You might need to back out on the conversation or whatever it is that's going on.
So my question is, what role does accountability play in renewal, in renewing a bond? A lot. And I don't think it's about just saying you were wrong. It's not a chess game. We're not at war. I don't think it's about who's right and who's wrong. It's having that emotional and intelligence with the emotional IQ of knowing that it's not about accountability. It's about realizing and fixing it. There's no blame there. There's no, you did this, I did this, tit for tat kind of thing. It's, okay, this happened. Now, how can we undo this and make it better so this no longer happens? Because after so many times, it becomes a pattern and it becomes habit forming. And then it becomes, that's just what you're used to. And that's not healthy, not at all. So for me, my answer would be accountability plays huge, yet not a role that should be labeled and named and that you can never overcome. It's just something to be accountable to recognize. That's my opinion. Moon Tortoise, do you have a different answer for what role does accountability play in renewal? In renewing a bond?
I think, accountability is something that we're not really born with. It's something we learn through trial and error. And then in relationships, yeah, it's I guess it'd be pretty close to what you'd say on it. Everything starts, accountability is how you start growth. It's like a seed of putting yourself on a different life path, unless you're just fully accountable. It's kind of everything in a relationship.
So I want to say, I apologize. So I want to say everything's a relationship. You and I are in a relationship. Anybody that you communicate with is considered a relationship. I have a relationship with every single person on this panel. It's a different form of relationship, different kind of relationship, yet it's still a relationship. And if you and I could not take each other for what we are, being authentic and holding each other accountable within self, I don't think it would be able to form any form of communication. Empress, do you feel anything differently about the question, what role does accountability play in renewing a bond?
I mean, I think I would probably ask the question, why would I want to renew a trauma bond?
Well,
why would you renew a trauma bond? A trauma bond is in place because the brain has switched something on that has you in something that's for survival mode. Once you come out of survival mode, the only thing you have to be accountable to is your own healing.
I love that you said that, because the title is A Trauma Bond for Renewal. So it's about becoming better, not just for each other, but for yourself. And You both have to equally do it.
I think a lot of times we think we can heal with or through, but you can't heal with somebody. You have to make a decision to heal yourself and take off on that journey. It's a personal journey that you have to take. And sometimes if you're trauma bonded to somebody, that's going to hinder, that's part of what's going to fall off of you on the journey. You know, your relationships are going to change once you come out of survival mode and you begin to heal.
I agree. I like that. I agree.
So to me, my accountability, the only way I can make any relationship I have better is to make me better. So my accountability is to myself.
Otherwise, you'd be holding someone accountable. And that's not conducive.
Yeah, I don't think we're able to, honestly. It's not our job. So, SGF Graham, can a trauma bond shift if only one person begins healing?
I mean, it's going to shift, but shift in what direction?
Yeah. I like that a lot.
Right on up out of there.
It takes two people because like the Empress said, you're bonded through trauma. Trauma is not a good thing. Not everybody wants to live in trauma, and we all don't want to be in survival mode the rest of our life. And in order for us to get out of it, it has to be both of us, because if you stay in that trauma, I can't do it. You're wrecking my pace that I'm creating. I get that. It depends on which way you're shifting.
Could I propose a question?
Yes.
So we talk about relationships. You brought up now that we're all in a relationship, all of us here, because we're talking for more than 20 minutes now. Yeah. So I guess that constitutes a relationship.
We're best buddies now.
We are all friends here. I think a trauma bond that gets overlooked, and I've went through myself, but going through made me notice, is trauma bonds between parents and children.
Yeah,
I think this gets overlooked a lot because, and it's devastating, especially if, well, yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. If we can talk on that, if you guys want.
No, I do, but I want to read this first to Empress because I want to know the answer.
Sure.
And then I do want to talk about that too, because that's important. It just doesn't fit with this answer. So let me read this question first, because we'll never be able to get this in any other time if I don't get it in right now. They want to know about intimacy, and I don't want to talk about parenting after we talk about or before we talk about intimacy. I do want to talk about intimacy first to separate it from parents.
Super valid.
So how do boundaries protect intimacy rather than distance it?
Boundaries?
Yes.
We still in trauma bonds, right?
We're still in trauma bonds.
Is this just okay? It's very, very hard for someone with a trauma bond to really have boundaries with that person. So I don't know. I've only had one trauma bond relationship, and I can honestly say during that time, intimacy was hit and miss.
So let me reframe this and reword it for you. How about this one? When you're healing from the trauma bond and you remove that person that caught the trauma, now you're going into another situation. And there's signs that have triggered you to see, oh no, I'm not doing this again because I've already been through trauma with somebody. How
that's
do you
more like I did.
how do you have healthy boundaries to
I,
protect yourself against
I'm
instant?
gonna be honest with you. I have a rule in relationships. If I see, I don't put up with any type of aggressiveness.
Yeah,
So that's my boundary. If you call me a bitch, I'm out.
yeah.
If you raise your voice, you know anything physical, you won't even get to physical with me because I'm out. I will dip in a minute. And that's why I say, you shouldn't date anybody till you see how their anger falls out.
Man, I love that
You know, you shouldn't get in a committed relationship and you haven't seen that other person angry.
Man, I love that you posted that. I know a
So
few people that need to take that advice.
I figure I will be single, because I have that boundary that I don't want aggression. And that's
Yeah,
that's come from my whole life of being abused as a child, abused as a wife, and you just get to the point where you say, "This is it. I'm not taking anymore. It's over," and I just don't take it anymore. I don't have a problem being alone. I don't have a shortage of men knocking on my door though.
yeah, I
But
feel that.
the moment that I see any type of aggression that I feel like could be a precursor to violence, I'm out.
How do you meet that? How do you meet that head on? Is it with matched aggression, like calm, cool, collected, and then right to the point? How do you do that? I think that's important.
Oh, when I leave,
How do you shut that down?
first of all, it's very hard to get me going emotionally now because I'm very aware. What the hell? There's some kind of bug crawling around in here.
Oh,
I've got years of counseling and therapy and all that stuff under my belt, plus, education and stuff. I keep myself a certain way around men. And so if, like I say, if I automatically just shut down immediately, my whole energy will change. And I may not leave right then, but I left. Physically, I might not be gone because I might have to make arrangements for some things. But emotionally, I have disconnected because I can't give you access to that.
What does that look like?
That looks like I'm not calling you.
okay.
I'm not calling you. I'm not hanging out with you. I'm not, I'm putting distance between me and you because I've seen something that has triggered something in my mind that says if you go this way, this is what's going to happen. And if you keep going down that road long enough, you'll develop a third eye on it. You'll see it when it comes.
So do you mind shedding a light on your age with everyone?
I'm 60. Oh, I'll be 60 in March.
That inner peace looks beautiful on you.
Thank you. I try to keep it too.
I feel that. So now that we got intimacy out of the way, because that's a big important thing. People think that that's entitled into a relationship. They think that it's a must. And I think the most important intimacy in a relationship is not sexual, to be honest with you. I don't think sexual has anything to do with intimacy ever.
No.
I think feeling safe with somebody is a form of intimacy. I think having a connection, being able to communicate authentically is a form of intimacy. Laughing together is a form of intimacy. I don't think sex at all, not even a teeny bit, plays with intimacy. Not in my eyes.
Yeah. Well, you can. I mean, people sell sex, so you can have sex and it not be intimate.
For real, for
They're
real.
vastly
I
different.
mean, you can buy it, sell it, trade it. It doesn't have to be intimate.
Think about it.
Goon
It doesn't
Squad.
have to be intimate at all. It could be just transactional.
So let's get off of that part and then let's talk about that trauma between parents and a child. Moon Tortoise. There is a
Uh,
trauma and it's deep between a child and a parent.
Most certainly. I'm glad you split those up. Anyway, I
Yes.
think my parents lacked intimacy, and that caused a lot of problem. No, I'm no. My parents split up because my mom was alcoholic, and that caused her to act like a raving lunatic a lot of the time. And they ended up splitting up, and she ended up taking my brother, and I was with dad. And then it all flipped. It bingo flipped around, and then it traded back and forth. And at the end of everything, neither of them could be alone, to the point where they would even not use their children. Oh, my mom was vicious about that. She would definitely use you. But yeah, they just trauma bonded hard through whatever they went through, and then through whatever they put everything else through. And my dad ended up, I ended up being my dad's dad really hard at the end there. And I had to step up and do that and I don't think anyone else could have, because I was the only one, because he was stuck in that. And I'm okay with that. It's a sad thing that happened. That's an example of a trauma bond kind of ending in a positive light, even though it was bad. He passed on happily. But it's vicious. I've seen it before. I've seen so many kids, so many people my age, literally in struggles and problems with their parents, either split up or together, and their parents need them. It just happens all the time. And it's a big trauma bond, spanning across families and generations. All right.
Absolutely.
So Empress, tell me about a trauma bond between parents or between siblings and parents.
Well, actually, I was trauma bonded I had a trauma bond with my dad, who, his thing was, his absence was traumatic, because like the young man said, I had a mother who was an alcoholic, and so you tend to idolize that other parent. And so my dad would do things like bring other women to us when we were kids, and put us in situations where we'd have to be around our stepmother, and knowing that my dad's got 15 other women, And well, my dad passed away, and he was in 2017. But before he could pass away, they had called me and said, the doctor said he wants to talk to somebody, and we figured, we're all here, so he must want to talk to you. And so when they put the phone up to his ear, I said, Daddy, I love you, and I forgive you, and you can go in peace. And both of us were set free from it. Well, he obviously was set free. He died. But it set me free from that bond of just thinking my dad could do no evil, and just finding safety in just the little pieces of him that he gave me. So yeah, it's very possible to be trauma bonded to parents that are abusive or neglectful, and you idolize these people too.
Yeah.
So,
I have the same kind of experience. My abandonment issues came from my mother, not my father. Yet my mother I don't want to say molest me, just inappropriately touched me when I was a child, and made me very uncomfortable lots of times. And I would go back to her constantly, even though I wasn't wanted. I think it's because I wanted that acceptance of her and just to feel that love because we looked alike. And my father was the same way as your father was. And he had a girlfriend plus a wife. And I end up telling the wife about the girlfriend. And then he threatened to take me out of this realm until I went and told her I was lying. And I dealt with the same situations. And then I realized that my mom, she passed away too, but she was gone before she even passed, before, in my eyes, to me. Someone tried taking me out of this realm in her home, and she laughed, and I kicked the person out and changed the locks. She allowed them back in, and a week later they tried it again. I packed up my stuff and completely disappeared, and I was done with her. And I explained to her why she couldn't receive it. And at the end of the day, I did it for me. I forgave her for me, not for her.
That's what forgiveness does. It unlocks you.
Yeah.
It unlocks you.
I forgave her, and then I was able to grow from that abandonment issue that I had from her, and that acceptance of feeling that void from men that I've seen passed on, that, women were just used for one thing. So I had so many bonds with my parents of trauma that I was able to overcome that and escape from my own addiction of sex and whatnot, stemming from what I allowed myself to be a part of that was out of my control because I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
So now it don't even bother me to talk about. I don't have no feelings whatsoever, as if it was a story I read someone else talk about. It is what it is. I'm not even holding no weight to that whatsoever. SGF Graham, did you have a trauma bond with your parents?
Let's just say all curses and iniquities, and I guess trauma bonds are done away and bonded and destroyed. And by covenant, I won't talk about it or dwell on it. So, no, I don't have none.
I feel that, and I receive that, giving it back.
Like the wording on that.
Ashe. Kendall, you had a trauma bond with your father?
Most definitely, but I learned to let go at the age of 16 and just accepted it for what is and move on with life.
Yeah, and it's a sense of peace. It's a sense of entitlement almost to self, to release and remove it. And I was absolutely nothing like either my parents to my child because of it. So I was grateful for that part, So Kendall, why does chaos often feel familiar and comforting?
My quick response was because I'm used to it, but that's just me.
No, that's a good response. That's a good response.
You're fun, chaos.
It's chaotic fun, yes. Depending on the day, right?
Yeah, not all the time. I know that, but
I love her chaos. It's fun.
Yes. No, it always brings a smile to my face. It doesn't matter. Like,
so
I wish my eyes could see these words.
We got
peace, natural got bars.
Yeah.
So SGF Graham, well, how does nervous system regulation change communication?
Usually when people calm down, relax, get out of their emotions or stop being defensive, whatever negative connotation was going on, they can receive what's being said, whether they agree or they don't. They can receive it without already thinking they know what's going to be said or what their response already is before they've even completely heard the person out. So that could be one way.
Okay. Empress, what does repair look like after emotional harm?
A lot of work. A lot of work. Now, one thing you got to know is a lot of people don't even know they're in trauma, a trauma bond, or that they've been emotionally harmed, because some behaviors they're just used to experiencing. But when you have to be very conscious to heal, meaning you've got to be able to sit and look at yourself and see, in yourself what needs to heal. That for me, it was a lot of therapy. I'm still in therapy, a lot of, like, if you see I'm in a hotel room, I've been in this hotel room for 2 weeks where I just sit with myself and I sift through my life and I see where I need to heal and what I need to deal with that's in me. So the journey to repairing is understanding, number one, hey, I got a problem. Because until you understand that I got a problem, and that problem is trauma or trauma bond or any other kind of problem, until you understand you have the problem, you can't come up with solutions for it or build strategies to repair it. My first strategy is always therapy. A lot of people have a negative connotation to therapy, but when you've dealt with trauma, there's a specific type of therapy you need, is CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, that helps to rewire the brain. So if I'm coaching, because I'm a life coach, and someone came to me and they had been dealing with trauma for just a while, I would refer them to a therapist. I could still work with them, but I put together strategies. A therapist works with the inner parts of your brain. So you have to come up with strategies for repair, and it's a journey you have to take. Because healing don't come overnight. That wound can come overnight. That trauma can come overnight, but healing doesn't come overnight.
I love that you said CBT and you mentioned that. I was 8 years sober, and I'm not asking for congratulations. I'm recently 8 years sober, and I put a lot of work into that. And one of the things I had to do is to completely rip and detach myself away from 12-step programs. Now that's some controversial stuff right there, let me tell you. It was just something I had to do. Now, I had my reasons for that. And what happened was I started looking into different models of step work based in CBT. And it's a wonderful aspect, at least for me, and I know a few other people who were struggling with 12-step programs and wanted help in a different aspect that was kind of concurrent with how that worked. Because the steps, there's a lot of merit to them. There's also differences in the program. So CBT is awesome. I'm really glad that you brought that up.
Yes. And it's very, it's a very good treatment for people who have gone through catastrophic traumas also. Specifically, if you've gone through child sexual abuse or severe physical abuse, domestic violence, anything, I've gone through all of them. So, and CBT, every now and then, if I get triggered, I have to go into CBT therapy. Now, on a normal basis, I'm just talking to my therapist, every other week. But there are certain times when I'm triggered by something that I know I need cognitive behavioral therapy, because I understand how the brain works. And just so I let you know that I have complex PTSD. and I have a traumatic brain injury. So I don't allow myself to get overloaded like that. So that's one reason why, like, the trauma bonds that I have are good trauma bonds because I'm dependent on them, of course. They're for my survival, of course, but they're not abusive people.
Mm-hmm.
They literally take care of me. And so, but I experienced, like, when I just had one leave, I just had a nurse that had to leave. And my God, I felt like one of my kids died. I felt like one of my kids died because she left, and it's very hard to be able to have people that walk in and out of your life like I do,
Mm-hmm.
with home health care.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
And I'm grateful for this podcast that we've been doing. It's going on 4 years that we've done this in July, and if it wasn't for this, I don't think I would have the therapy that I had, because even sharing with these guys and building this special bond that we all have with each other, it's safe. This is my safe space where I know I can be authentically me without worrying about judgment, and I'm grateful for that. And we're going to come out of a way where we can get recognized as being in therapy almost just by doing this, because this is great. This is a beautiful thing. And Moon Tortoise, I want to ask you this because you're really familiar with this. How do we unlearn people pleasing and self abandonment?
By giving into the demands of everyone that puts it in front of you. No. How do we get rid of people pleasing and abandonment issues?
Self abandonment.
You gotta build a foundation of self-worth. You gotta detach yourself from the negative things, the leeches stealing your life force, and you got to understand it's like she said earlier, acceptance is the first step.
I'm sorry.
Understanding why you're sick, why you're at rock bottom or backpedaling or stuck in a relationship that's killing you and probably killing the other person too. Yeah, you really got to build yourself up, because we are alone in the aspect that it's just us and our brain. At the end of the day, you got to be comfortable in that shell to travel through this time and world. The lack of empathy and all of that stuff. It's hard. Build a good core of emotions.
SGF Graham, are we modeling love and endurance disguised as love?
Repeat that question.
I don't know. It makes no sense. Are we modeling love or endurance disguised as love?
Both of them sound like an act, but
Play.
um,
I'm gonna copy it and show you. I can give you a different one.
You're just messing with them on that one.
I know. I'll give them a different one. Here, this is what it looks like, though, but I'll give you a different one. So, how does fear show up in our communication, even during a calm moments?
Repeat that, because I was reading the other one.
How does fear show up in our communications, even during calm moments?
How does fear?
Yeah, show up in communication.
I guess when people start assuming they know which negative route that the communication is about to head, like they know the person, so they know kind of usually when we talk about this where it goes, so they already hold an assumption in their head that okay, this is gonna be a blow up, so let me get prepared and already be defensive or something of that nature.
Hmm. Do you have a different answer, Empress?
Um, no, I don't think there's a different answer.
Okay.
Because fear is a part of a trauma bond, so it's gonna show up. It's gonna show up in ways like over talking, not listening, not being able to connect in communication. I mean, that's where the fear is gonna show up in the communication.
I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for you saying that. What Empress, what patterns end with us so our children do not have to carry them forward? I'm gonna ask everybody that.
Well, I can tell you what I've done in my family. Of course, you call me Empress, and that's one of the things that a pattern that I grew up being called everything but a child of God, and my children have only been called princes and princesses and kings and queens, and I have developed a psychological stages of development, but put my own names on it for my family. And so one of the things that I did not pass down to my children was calling them out of their names.
I love that for you.
Calling them out of their names. My sons have never been motherfuckers or bitches or hoes or they've never been none of that. I've never cursed one of my children out. Never disrespected them like that at all. And I remember that's all we got growing up. You
No,
know,
we don't fuss on the podcast at all.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, he's kidding.
I'll be with you. I just was surprised you hadn't said anything like that up until this point, and it would just hit me like a ton of bricks.
No, he's kidding.
Oh.
He gets a lot. He gets a lot.
Look, I'll get going though. I mean, but I have never ever cursed out one of my kids, and ultimately now, like, I coach parents now
Yeah.
that have troubled relationships with their children, and sometimes I have to sit back and just say thank you to God because I don't have those issues with my children. My children respect me. They respect each other. They take care of each other. Like, my son, helps take care of his sister. Well, he is old enough to be her daddy, but that curse was broken because we don't realize that what we say to our kids when they're young, some of that stuff is going to be battled their whole entire lives. I still battle stuff that my mom used to say to me when I was a kid. Things like, you look like a 10-cent whore. You'll never be worth $1. Mind you, while I know I'm beautiful, when I look in the mirror, I got to battle that 10-cent hoe thing. And I'm 60, still battling those words. So I was very conscious of the words, and I'm a word person. I'm very conscious of my words when I speak them now, because I don't want to pass on a curse, and so we don't realize that that's what we're doing when we sitting up,
So I'm gonna ask you the same question, SGF Graham. I'm not gonna ask Moon Tortoise or Kendall, but I'm gonna ask you the same question. What patterns end with us so our children do not have to carry them forward?
I was pretty much say what she said. I don't really think I would add anything or whatever. Anything else that I would add would be spiritual or religious beliefs, not universal, for a podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, for me, I've never told. I only have one son, and I've never told him that I wish he wasn't alive, or I wish I never had him, or I regretted it. And I'm grateful for that because that was told to me constantly. I mean, that and everything else she said also was told to me. That's how we come together with the trauma because we all have been through it, or we wouldn't be talking right now. And to stay in it is different because if we were all still within it deep, we would still wouldn't be talking right now. So it's the growth of the frequency of the change, of renewing, of removing. And there's only one thing that I would love to have done differently, and that's to allow other people not disrespect me in front of my son, because then he probably would have respected me more. Yet I didn't respect me. I didn't know how. I didn't even know what healthy boundaries were. I'm just learning them. So I had no clue even what respect looked like for myself because I didn't respect me. So that's the only thing I wish I would have done differently. But I'm grateful that I've never called him outside of his name. I'm grateful that I've never
Beautiful.
she wasn't alive. I've never done none of that. And I don't meet him in his anger. And I'm grateful for that because it's not it's not his fault on anything in life. And I wouldn't want him to feel anything less than what he does already to himself because he beats himself up. I mean, he's a grown man now. He's 33, about to be 34. And he's beats himself up on a daily about things that he does. So now he has to heal from within himself that I can't worry about because it's not my thing. I forgave me and I asked him for forgiveness, and that's all I can do because I knew no better, but I was better than my parents, and I'm grateful for that. But it's harder. We talk about this all the time. It's easier to fix a child while they're a child instead of repairing a damaged adult.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
And that's something that people need to come to awareness on because I know a lot of damaged adults, and having that, just that self-love, just knowing that they're worth it is hard because a lot of us forget that we are worth it.
Yeah,
So,
I got one.
go ahead. Everything.
Being a dad, especially not being with the mother.
Yeah.
My stepdad that I called dad is better than most people real dads that I've ran across, and thank you. I had his example, you know, but I only knew how to be a dad in a household because my real dad was nowhere around. I didn't have no type of example of even seeing it being a successful thing, being a father and not being with the mother. And then looking at my couple of friends that I had that wasn't their family wasn't in a marriage situation, dad was never around or whatever. So I never saw it as a successful thing, which is the main reason I forced myself in a marriage that I knew wasn't gonna work, but this was the only way I thought that I had the only way I thought that I could be in their life like I wanted to. So with my kids, I'm showing them that the goal isn't to have no kids outside of marriage, but if for some reason it happens, you have a model now of how to be a dad without putting you and the mom through the torture of feeling like y'all got to be in a relationship, and also how to co-parent. That's like I'm showing them that or whatever, whenever their mother calls and it's something, I'm on it ASAP or whatever, anything that's going on, I get there ASAP or whatever, I show them the urgency. I let them know, hey, I apologize, Dad, not like there like he's supposed to, but y'all see at any drop of a dime, I'm there for y'all, right? Any drop of a dime this, any drop of a dime that, y'all gonna at least do that for my grandkids. That's one thing we're gonna change. There ain't gonna be no absent stuff going on. So that's something that need to change on my end. That needed to be changed on my end, I should say.
I love that for you.
That's awesome.
I love that for you. So, I want to ask Empress, what you got coming out and what you got going on in your growth and your journey in life? What is your next move on 2026? What does that look like for you?
2026. Well, right now I am finishing up my first two books. Now it's a part one and part two, and it's just my whole life. It's cathartic. So I'm walking through all the things in my life, trauma in my life, the people in my life that shaped me. Not everybody, but those that really made an impact on my life, good or bad. I'm telling it all. It's a tell-all. So I gotta get some legal advice. It's a tell-all because some people ain't gonna be happy. But I'm only telling my story. And so really what I do it's called My Broken Pieces, part one, part two. Part one is the beginning of me up until 2011 when we got into the car accident. And part two goes from the car accident till recently when I just buried my goddaughter in November, and I was able to give her a eulogy, and I was introduced as the Empress. And so a lot of people don't know that the Empress is just a family name, but it became something more. And so in my book, it chronicles all the names that I've had also. It'll go through what people have called me over the years. And so that's what I'm working on this year. By the end of this year, though, I have declared that I will have my own podcast dedicated to healing trauma.
I love that.
So that's what I'm working on this year. I've decided this year is the year of me.
Congratulations.
This is the year I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to do things that build me. Because you can get caught up in taking care of everybody around you, and then there's nobody pouring back into you. So if you're on this healing journey, you need to pour into yourself.
So Missy has a question. Could you read it, Moon Tortoise?
I would love to. Missy asks, how can you tell if you have been the problem in everyone's life or if you are just the victim? Especially when it seems you can't keep friends or a job. The common denominator seems to be myself, that I am not the problem.
Anybody would like to answer that?
Then am I not the problem? Okay, I was a little confused there for a second. Well, I mean, let's be honest with you. If you the common denominator, then you got to look at yourself. It's not. People say I can't keep any friends. Well, there's a method to friendship that you have to be friendly, and a lot of times people that feel like the whole world is against them are not very friendly, because that's a mechanism. So people tend not to get that close to them. So it's not that you can't make friends. You can, but you got to learn how to deal with you and yourself. And then a lot of times people come and go for your life. You got to wear people like like this sweater you can pull on and take off. You got to wear people like that. Not everybody comes in your life is going to stay in your life. So-
Sometimes you meet people in the trauma that you're in, and you also leave them in the trauma that you're no longer in. So
That's right.
you have to just realize that sometimes you may be the common denominator.
Yes.
And then again, you got to also realize that maybe it's just the universe actually gifting you with renewal, because you cannot remove people on your own. Sometimes we keep people in our lives that don't need to be there. They were only meant to be there for that little lesson.
That's right.
In that season. And we hold on to that because we have abandonment issues and because we have people pleasing issues. And then you have to realize that we can't tell the difference. So I'm going to let everybody on the panel also give you advice. SGF Graham, you ask.
I just had the simple question: if everybody doesn't want to be your friend, would you hang with yourself? Like,
That's a good question.
Do you like you? Do you think
Would you be your friend?
Have you spent time in yourself, with yourself, by yourself? Have you ever been just alone and not sad and depressed by being alone? And enjoyed that? Look forward to that. Them are questions you have to ask yourself. Do you know who this is, Moon Tortoise?
You know, I think I know. You didn't ask me the question before because I don't have children.
Yes.
That's funny. But every child I meet, I protect them like they're my own, and they walk away feeling like they're a smart and important individual. And there's a reason for that. It's because I won't have kids. I decided at 5. That being said, Missy, some people come from horrible trauma, right? We go through stuff, and then sometimes we move and we transplant ourselves, and we find we end up in places that aren't conducive to our healing. And maybe it's time for an agonizing but necessary reappraisal of the entire situation that you're in. We're stuck in ruts and routines that are making us sick. You got to do something different with it. If you don't have friends where you're at, there's billions of people in the world, billions of people who don't even speak English would be your friend, and you could just learn a language. I mean, I know it's not easy to spark change, but I might know where you're coming from, Missy. I almost feel like I know you in a lot of ways, right? And maybe you know some of what I went through. There's light somewhere at the end of that tunnel, and they're right. Listen to them. You got to be 100% comfortable with yourself. You got to love yourself, and if you don't see anything there to love, it's impossible, because I see it, even through the comments.
And if you want, you can come on our show at any time, and I will be authentically honest with you. I will tell you if you are the common denominator in your life, but 9 times out of 10, you're not. It's the people that you're around, and it's the jobs you choose. Because if you can love you and you can be with you, and I don't think that you have to think that you're perfect. You just got to enjoy you alone without feeling lonely, because just because you're alone doesn't mean you're lonely ever. Ever. So, Moon Tortoise, what did Thomas Schul say before we get into the positive quotes?
All right. Beating this up to to keep reading it, but that's okay. It needs to be read. My dad was a prosaic writer. He had done a lot of weird things. And the one I had, there's no damned page numbers. I want to say, we're going to do Positive quotes, right? Here we go. It says, when was the last time you read something just for the hell of it by habeas corpus? And that says one of my various and sundry pen names. And it says, I wish I could buy myself some hell, said the crippled spaceman. He had spent his youth in a space cutter, chasing pirates and putting down rebellions. He saved his pay, every penny of it. Never drank, never messed around. He did his work well. What is it?
I loved his mind. It was so intelligently out there.
Riddled with trauma and neurodivergence.
I love everything about that. So, before we do positive quotes, I want to let you know anybody tuning in has children at the age of 12 to 17 that would love to come on our show on Mondays. We have Let the Children Talk, Let the Children Speak at 8 o'clock. All of our shows are at 8 o'clock except for on Saturdays. Saturdays at 4:20. So, 8 o'clock Mondays, we have Let the Children Speak. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have at 8 o'clock the People's Podcast, which this is. Then we have every other Friday, Twisted Takes at 8 o'clock. We give you music reviews. And then Saturday at 4:20. You got to remember 4:20. That's when we're going to Twisted.
Remember 4:20.
Everybody does.
That's when we get on Twisted Radio and get twisted with vibrations of high vibrations. So we're going to do positive message. SGF Graham, what is your positive message?
I was mentally working on it. You're gonna have to skip me.
Okay. Love shop buttons.
I'm in the same process here. I don't even know what to say at this point, but you too can overcome trauma and anything that you want to achieve in life. Don't let anything stop you.
So Love Child Buttons is Kendall Creations, and she has she's a beautiful painter, and she does paintings on Mondays, Wednesdays, or whenever sporadically on TikTok. So everybody get out there and check her out. Moon Tortoise is Henry Schul, and beautiful artist, beautiful writer, beautiful singer, beautiful, plays just about any instrument there is out there. Go check them out. SGF Graham is on our intro and outro song. SGF Graham is the second person that does the music, and just a very diverse, beautiful creature. One of my faves. SGF Graham, you got it now or no?
No, I do not. Check out my music. That's
All right,
positive enough.
You'll find positive music in his music, or messages in his music.
There we go.
Empress, you have something positive to say?
I'm going to tell you that everything that you need for health, healing, and wholeness is in you. Healing, it's in you. Period. You have to unlock it. You have to seek it, but it's in you. It's in you. I say.
If you want a long-lasting relationship, it's got to be with you. Whatever you are searching for, whatever you are longing for, you have to become it, or it will not come to you. So that's exactly it. I'm going to leave it with that on that note, what she said, because you can't get better than that. Moon Tortoise.
Positive quote. Don't let your past define your future. Even if it's hard to get over, work on it. The future's beautiful.
Tonight's conversation reminds us that healing is not about erasing the past. It's about choosing awareness over autopilot and growth over repetition. Healthy trauma bonds are not built on fear. They are built on honest boundaries and mutual effort. Renewal is possible when both people are willing to do the work. Thank you to our guest, Empress Audrey, for sharing insight and presence with us tonight. And thank you to our listeners for showing up, reflecting, and continuing these conversations beyond the mic. This has been the People's Podcast, with the ears that will listen and where your opinion matters and your voice will get heard. Ashe, everyone.
I say,
Say peace, peace, SGF Graham.
My fault. Peace.
Say it, Kendall. Say see you later.
See ya, y'all.
I did a stern arms crossed.
All right, here we go.
Let's get to the bottom of this one. Unspoken truths that I miss one. Tap into the minds of the people, rather acknowledge before I dismiss one. Atheists, Muslim, Christians, Buddhists, they all got usage. All got perspective, it's a collective. Get to the bottom where the truth is. With our hearts uncovered, where you detox from all of the lies you smothered. When them tries to kill you, but with faith you recover. Yeah. Peel off the makeup, we finna take off. Never said it'd be a cakewalk. Meditate till we charged up. Execute goes regardless. Decalcify my pineal. Breaking language barriers, we saw millennials. Planets passing age rotations, down me we owe. So down me we know. Sometimes we can be slow, that's why my ears open. Every drop you add could complete the ocean. Speak up, play your part too. Been vulnerable, it's so hard to reflect on all the juice like torture. It's on you, tell the truth.
Yeah, we about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. Listen. Yeah, aim in the fit so you see in the mirror. Play with your focus and watch it get clear. Polish your crown, turn it up if you will. You live in the root, release what you're fearing. And watch it all rise, the righteous will hear it. They calling us twisted, I'm not even caring. Because it's unseen, the mind is too barren. They won't even heal it, they pass it to cheering. We over here healing, conversing and listening. Know that the truth isn't always appealing, but end it with healing and find your beginning. Frequency positive, what you receiving. Perception is up to you, what you believing. What you retrieving, mentally speaking. Like that they breathing, no words from a heathen. Don't know it all, but